Welcome to True Crime and Wine Time. I'm Terry.
And I'm Llama.
Tonight, we are uncorking the truth behind one of the darkest crimes and breaking it down together with you.
One case, one conversation, and one or maybe two glasses of wine to take the edge off. It's time to get comfortable and double check those locks before we get started.
So let's take a sip and dive in.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody. Glad to see us in the same place.
The same place, but on a different day. Same task.
I meant to see you.
Oh.
In the same place. We were in opposite places.
Yes, that's true. We were in opposite rooms before the show.
I love that Lady in Gray is all aboard the rant train.
Yes, she is. She's all aboard. Spatty. Yeah.
I have to tell you, I told somebody about the case we're covering today. He's a retired police officer friend of mine in Dallas.
Oh, yes.
And I told him, and he goes, why so many shows? He goes, I know there's some stuff. And I said, oh, wait, whoa. And then he goes, really? I was like, oh, yes. I said, you should go listen. I said, it's not wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, like you think. I said, this man started long before. So.
No, we should be vertical as well. It's showing up on my end, Pam. But who knows? StreamYard has done some weird things for us this week. But on our end, it shows us in vertical. So I don't know.
Stop and say vertical, horizontal.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Whatever. We're here.
Which way are here? Vertical, horizontal?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, yes, we are here for another episode. Aren't you all excited? I know I am. I know I am. Now, you guys, though, before we begin, if you're watching us on YouTube, please hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss when we go live or drop an episode, because we do still have quite a few more parts of this series to go through on days that or nights we're not normally recording. So you don't want to miss those.
That's correct. You don't want to miss it.
Teresia, hi, babe. Long time no see.
Gosh, I started my morning with her.
Did you? I haven't seen you well, babe. Hope you're well.
I randomly went live this morning.
Oh, that's right.
Teresia was there with me this morning.
Is it crazy that this morning feels like 2 days ago?
No, it doesn't. I feel like I've lived a week in today.
Right? Oh my goodness. My goodness. Girl, me too, Pam. I was in the wrong room. I was in the Thursday night's showroom, just having a dance party. And Terry's like, where are you? We're supposed to be live in 5 minutes. I'm like, where are you?
And then she sends me, I just said in Discord, hey, I'm getting nervous. She goes, why? Why? Because we go live in 8 minutes and you're not here.
Right. I'm so pretty. We've missed you, Teresia. I'm so happy you're back with us as well. We've missed your presence. Welcome back.
And guys, if you are listening to this over on the pods, please download, follow, and leave a rating and review it. Guys, it really helps our little pod get noticed. And guys, last night, I have to tell you, and maybe that's why I woke up the way I was this morning. I did not listen to Keith Morrison last night.
Oh, that could be. Your man, Keith?
Listen to us.
Put you in a good mood.
I was listening to us while I tried to sleep.
You're listening to us?
I did. I put True Crime and Wine Time on my podcast in my ear instead of I don't know if I should listen. I didn't sleep great because I was judging. I was like, ooh, that didn't sound great. Ooh.
Don't do that, Terry.
I don't think I should do that again.
No. Watch every now and then just to, check up on stuff. But I don't recommend it. Well, you guys, you can also become a member. I forgot. I'm also running the slideshow tonight, and I've already failed. You can also become a member of our YouTube channel, which comes with all sorts of exclusive perks. Just click the join button and pick which tier works best for you. And the lowest is 99 cents. So we offer all sorts of amazing things for our members. So be sure to do that as well.
We do. Now, Llama, why don't you tell us what insanity we are going to be covering tonight?
Well, oh boy, buckle up, guys, because as I've told you before, each one gets worse than the one before. And tonight is part 6 of our Frozen Fear, the Butcher Baker of Alaska series, where we are diving deep into infamous serial killer Robert Hansen, his endless number of victims who we refuse to be let forgotten, and many that are speculated but not even known that they're speculated to be victims of his, and how all of it could have been stopped numerous times by the police. Okay, like this is infuriating. Now, we believe the state of Alaska has a lot of blood on their hands, and we're here to shine a light on all of it. Now, tonight's episode won't be as long as the previous one, but there will still be lots of rants and cursey words. So,
really?
I know, right? So if you've come here for that, you're not going to be disappointed. As a matter of fact, the show was supposed to be last night, but then Terry read it and she was like, well, we're going to have to move it to Wednesday because I got things to say.
I'm like, yeah, we can't. Nope, can't. Got to save it for tonight. So,
well, what are you drinking tonight, Terry?
Well, because we are still in Alaska, wine just won't do. But I decided I didn't want to do another martini. So I am going, this used to be my drink back in the day. Vodka tonic.
Oh, look at you. Just basic but delicious.
Because you still have to watch the calories. But yeah, just good old clean vodka tonic.
You're from Boston, Spetty, so you're a cursey word fan. Yeah. Sometimes I think that I'm from the East Coast and I curse like a sailor. In case you guys haven't picked up on that.
I'm like, really? I didn't know that.
A shock to nobody. Shock to nobody.
What are you drinking tonight?
I'm still drinking my Sveta vodka from Monday. I bought a bottle to get us through the rest of Hansen because I was like, ooh, my bank account will appreciate it because it was like either I buy 8 more bottles of wine or I just buy a bottle of vodka. And again, this case, it's something. So, but if you've never had Sveta vodka, they're not a sponsor, but if you would like to be Sveta vodka, please let us know. It's actually very clean and you honestly don't even taste it, which is probably dangerous because it goes down very smooth.
Well,
and I'm a heavy pour.
It's a potato vodka.
Yeah. Well, not all vodkas like that, though.
I know, but Tito's is the same way. It's not a potato vodka. I can drink it straight. I can drink it just on ice. I can Sveta too.
I probably
like
can.
Kettle One.
Yeah, no, there's none of that. It's delicious. And of course, I paired it with my Simply Peach juice, which I'll probably run out of tonight. So who knows? Maybe tomorrow night I'll have it with some V8 Splash because I'm healthy.
What is V8 Splash?
It's like the juice V8, but it's fruit.
Tomato in it?
No.
Oh,
it's like a fruit version of V8.
Okay, so it's not the nasty.
No, though. I mean, a Bloody Mary is amazing. So you know.
Before we get started, I have to tell you that I learned something last night at my county meeting, and I told my assistant chief that I had to tell the famous Llama for Llama Learns.
Oh, what's that?
Did you know that sand dollars are living creatures?
No.
They are not a rock or a stone. It is a living organism.
What? No, I don't think I knew that.
I didn't either because she had some on her desk that are whole. And I'm like, oh my God, you got lucky and found them. She goes, I did right outside our lake house. She goes, but I throw back the ones that are still alive. And I went, are you trying to prank me?
I don't even know what I thought sand dollars were, to be honest.
You need to add it to the list because I just did a little bit of research. It's fascinating. They even have a butthole.
What? All right. I haven't picked my topic for Llama Learns About on Friday, but sand dollars,
You
it
have
is.
to. But so I told the county assistant chief about you.
Oh, well, thanks. Thanks. All right. Well, with that, sand dollar buttholes, let's get into the story of tonight's case. Now, before we dive into the dark waters of Seaward, because that's where we'll be tonight in Alaska, let's look back at how we arrived here in our investigation of the silent decade of the 1970s. Just a brief recap for anybody who might have forgotten or hasn't gotten to watch the last few episodes. We're going to give you just a brief catch up of how we got here.
First thing I'm going to say on this brief catch up is that Alaska police failed. Okay. But we began by unmasking the duality of Robert Hansen, the mild-mannered baker who hid a predator's heart behind a mask of stuttering and family-oriented normalcy. We traced his descent from the 1971 kidnapping attempts on Susan Hepburn and Patty Roberts, where the patterns of his violence first crystallized. Guys, we stood in the freezing silence of February 1972, questioning whether the death of Shirley Ann Jonas in a desolate truck yard was the first true signature of the man who had come to be known as the Butcher Baker.
Then we waded through the murky waters of the ZZ Mason investigation, and we saw how the Alaska State Troopers, blinded by the vicious reputation of Gary Zeiger, fixated on an impulsive theory of a gravel pit murder. It was very infuriating. We watched as the defense shattered that timeline with the testimony of Patricia Bellamick and Alan McClure, who saw Zizia alive hours after the state claimed she was dead. And the Zeiger trial ended in an acquittal. But for Robert Hansen, it was maybe a masterclass in how to disappear if he was in fact responsible for those murders. He learned that the police were prone to tunnel vision. They were looking for monsters who look like hoods and not men who look like pillars of the community. Oh, God, it's so infuriating.
You really need to go back and listen and watch. The trial's end left the authorities with a hunting void. They had a killer who had walked free and a series of cold cases that would remain unsolved for decades.
Yeah, still now.
Meanwhile, Hansen was emboldened. He traded in his role as a roadside predator for the tactical flexibility of a boat owner. So we're going from land to sea.
Yeah. Now, the legal aftermath of 1972 saw Robert Hansen transition from a temporary resident of a halfway house to a fully paroled man. And by July 1973, Robert Hansen had mastered the art of being salvageable. To the officers at the halfway house and his parole officer, he wasn't a predator for some reason. Don't understand why, but that just fits with everything in the storyline. To them, he was just a baker, a family man, and an outdoorsman. His obsession with bow hunting, fishing, and boating was seen as a healthy Alaskan outlet for his energy.
Most of the time, I would say that's a good outlet for normal people. Okay. That 4th of July holiday weekend, Hansen requested permission to take his boat to Seaward, a picturesque port town on the Kenai Peninsula. He was granted that permission, apparently, because he went alone, a detail that in hindsight is chilling. He told his parole officer that Darla hated the boat and suffered from seasickness. No, she suffered from you. Providing a perfectly reasonable domestic excuse for a solitary excursion. While the normal Robert Hansen was supposedly fishing the waters of Resurrection Bay, A shadow was falling over a young woman in the same area. I'm sorry, guys. I'm irritated that they told him he could go.
Right? It's so gorgeous, though, these pictures.
They
God,
are, but
they're
they
so
let
cool.
him go. He's
Mhm. Yep. Yep. Now, the portrait of 17-year-old Megan Emerick is that of a quintessential Alaskan daughter. Born and raised in the rugged interior of Delta Junction, she wasn't a fragile city girl. She was a young woman of the Yukon, as comfortable with a hunting rifle and a fishing rod as she was with a motorcycle or listening to rock music.
When she moved to Seward to attend the Seward Skills Center, she brought that independent spirit with her. The Seward Skills Center was a microcosm of Alaska, a place where kids from remote villages and small towns like Delta Junction came to build a future. Despite being part of the Seward community, the campus was unfenced and bled directly into the Alaskan rainforest. From the woods, someone could observe the dorm windows and vanish back into the timber without ever crossing a main road.
Yeah.
That scares me.
I mean, look at that picture of the I don't know how if I don't know the year this picture is made because Amy's not here with us tonight, but look at, I mean, the forest is so thick in Alaska. I don't even know if I can comprehend how.
But if you
dense.
look, that back part right there that backs up to the woods, that is scary because you could reach in.
Just now, on July 7th, the tail end of Independence Day weekend, the campus was likely quiet. Many students would have been out in the town or at the harbor celebrating, leaving the dormitory hallways echoing and very isolated. I mean, they have to go outside as much as they can.
You know, when it is sunny, when it is warm and there's not 10 feet of snow, they got to go out.
Right.
And I don't fault them for that. Inside the girls' dormitory, the air was thick with the scent of laundry detergent and the rhythmic sound of the dryer. Two things I hate. As Megan was finishing her last load of laundry, she folded her clothes and then stepped out of the laundry room at the end of the quiet hallway.
Now she walked towards the exit, her long brown hair swaying and her freckled face set with the independence of a girl raised in Delta Junction. She stepped out into the warm July air, likely intending only a brief moment away from her room. She had left her ID, her money, and every scrap of her life sitting on her bed, but she never made it back to pick them up.
For 3 days, her room remained a ghost of her presence. Her laundry sat undisturbed. Her bed remained unmade. Her roommate, most likely caught in the hopeful denial of youth, searched the small town, checking the docks, the hangouts, but was waiting for Megan to walk back through the door with an adventurous story to tell, because what could happen there, right?
Yeah. And I mean, it's the 70s. So somebody like not being around for, like, you can't just call people.
No.
So you're not going to panic right away, probably. Also, it's a holiday weekend. So, you know, you don't know.
And it's kind of like college. You know, they're away from home probably the first time. You don't have any parents. You get to go.
Yeah, it was like a high school, but like college, one of those places. So yeah, you know, they're very independent kids, if you will. So now by the time the Seward police were notified on July 10th, oh yeah, she did wait a little too long, but also she's young. She's 17.
She's 17.
We can't expect her to know what to do. In the 70s, when like,
and who would have thought if a person went, oh, she must have met some guy at the celebration, she's off having I mean, who would have thought?
Yeah. Sorry, that was a long motorcycle.
I
So
was
the
like,
Seward police were notified on July 10th, and the trail was not just cold, it was basically non existent at that point. The Independence Day crowds had dispersed, the tides of the bay had swept the shores clean, and Robert Hansen had already checked back in with his parole officer in Anchorage, a model convict returning from a peaceful holiday of fishing. Hmm.
the fact that Megan vanished from a laundry room inside a building suggests one of two possibilities. One, it was either someone she recognized or someone who seemed unremarkably harmless, luring her from the building to a nearby vehicle or the woods. Perhaps a predator used the open layout of the campus to enter the building, stalking the quiet area of the dorm, like maybe hanging out near the end of the hallway laundry room
Mhm.
where a struggle would go unheard.
And remember, too, that it's right up against the
What?
woods. All right. Hanson's a hunter. You know what you do with hunting? You sit and you wait in the woods for a
Yep.
long time.
And
You're a very patient person.
you know how to walk quietly, not to disturb. I mean,
Mhm. And he was known for ruses, if you will. Now, if Robert Hansen had encountered Megan, he could speak her language, the language of hunting and fishing and Alaska bush life that made up most of her life. He was a champion archer and a boat owner. To a girl from Delta Junction, a man asking for help with a boat or talking about a fishing spot wouldn't wouldn't trigger the stranger danger response that a city predator might. She oh gosh, I don't
and
think
she came
actually.
from Delta Junction, which was a
Mhm.
very small place.
Yeah, and I don't think I included in here, or maybe not. Well, maybe I did, and we'll bring it up later if not. But she was raised with brothers.
Mm.
So she was very, a
She was
tomboy-ish.
a tomboy.
She could hold her own,
She could
very
probably go hunting, fishing.
and very independent that like I don't
She
want to say
was
she was naive,
she was
but she was
raised in a
very
rural
confident.
community.
Mhm.
You do not teach people in those rural communities and small towns to fear the stranger danger of a city.
Right. And he could have brought up anything and that would have, that wouldn't have been weird to her. She would have went. Well, I don't
Yeah.
know if she would have went, but the odds are
You wouldn't have been immediately
right.
right.
Yeah.
So
So,
Chief Tom Clements and the Seaward Police performed the standard due diligence at the time, which left a lot to be desired. I'm going to just say
mhm.
that now. Their standard due diligence ain't good. Okay. One thing they did do, they did a lot of polygraph tests with several of Megan's acquaintances
Have
who
we
were
counted how
present
many
at that.
polygraph tests they've
We are
done
like
in
getting
the
40
story?
or 50. I mean, they just give it up polygraph test for you. Check.
They're obsessed.
Yeah, they're obsessed. I mean, but it was the times. But these individuals passed. So that effectively cleared the inner circle. But without a body, a struggle, or a witness to an abduction, the police had no evidence to support foul play. They suspected it, but without a body, the silent decade claimed another victim.
Now, if Hansen took Megan on his boat, he had the entire Resurrection Bay as his disposal site. In 1973, things like sonar and underwater recovery were very primitive, and a body waited and dropped in the deep, cold currents of the Gulf of Alaska would stay there forever. Maybe Hansen had learned the lesson of the South Side slangs that gravel pits leave tracks, but the ocean does not.
Does not. Today, the only evidence that Megan Emerick ever walked the halls of the Seaward Skills Center are a few faded flyers and microfilmed blurbs,
Mm.
which just shatters my heart, guys. After their mother's passing in 1996, Megan's two brothers were left dealing with the hollow, certainty of their sister's death, but none of the why or how.
Over 33 years. No answers before her mother passed. And that's so heartbreaking.
It's
Now, by November 1973, Robert Hansen was officially free from the halfway house and on parole. His assault with a deadly weapon charge from Susan Hepburn seemingly behind him. And to the authorities, he had faded into the background and was just another hardworking baker and family man in Anchorage.
But the silence that followed him was deceptive. Okay. Decades later, the ghost of Seward would resurface, pointing to the possibility that that model convict had left a trail of bodies in the very waters he claimed to be peacefully fishing. Guys, I'm going to just say this man does not do anything peacefully.
No.
Peace is not what he's looking for.
No. Now, I will say this, because Seward is quite a distance from Anchorage. We don't have a map on this one, but it's quite
there.
Right. No, I know, but I totally think he's behind.
I thought you were going to start giving him some.
No, not him. No, not him. The local law enforcement, they wouldn't even know who he is. He wouldn't have been on their radar, or anything like that.
We didn't have bolos. We didn't have a computer system.
Right.
Parole officer would have had to pick up the phone and call.
Yeah. So they in Seward, Alaska, get a little bit of a pass on the Robert Hansen card.
Because he left.
They could have been better investigator, probably. Okay, but we're not talking Anchorage where people literally was like, picture this guy. Definitely did it. Not so much in Seward. But listen, Megan, I'm sorry.
Teresa, I'm just sorry. I saw that DIL and I was like, down low. And I was like, daughter-in-law. Do not let her go back to Anchorage.
But everything about Megan 100% fits his victims. And listen, from what I could tell, it didn't seem like they had a lot of people go missing, unlike Anchorage, because it was a smaller community. You know, Anchorage was a bustling oil town, lots of transients. Seward was, they would have people come in for the summer, visitors, but other than that, it was a pretty small.
Wasn't it like 500-600 people or something? I thought it was.
It's not a very big.
So you can't take a lot of people from there because it would be noticed a lot faster, and they probably did not have a high population of sex workers. Compared to Anchorage.
And just where it was, from what I gathered, I could be wrong, but from what I gathered, Seward was a little bit different in that sense. So, I don't know. I think Megan.
Tracy, does your daughter-in-law still live in Anchorage? Because if she does, I need to talk with her.
Because spoiler alert, Teresa, they haven't changed anything in 50 years.
But I would like to talk to her if she still lives there, because I got questions.
That's
and
true.
I'm sure Llama does too, because
I do.
They have a lot of missing people and they don't give a shit. And if she does live there, you need to get her here.
Because, yikes. Now, in the official timeline of the Alaska justice system and Robert Hansen, 1974 is a blank page. Now, don't get it twisted. I think he totally kept doing what he was doing. I think more women were dead or missing, but on any records, we've got nothing for the year of 1994.
Think about it. He was taking people that people don't notice, and he got good at it. So there would be people good. But nothing, I'm going to just say, he did not just do nothing in 74.
No, once we're done with this whole story, I do encourage people to go back and listen once you know all the stuff and you're like, yep, nope, there's no way. Even according to him, there would have been no way, according to his own words that he'll hear later in a different episode, that literally nothing happened in 1994. But For the public, there was no arrest records for Robert Hansen, no parole violations, and no high-profile disappearances that the police could definitely link to Robert Hansen. Not saying there aren't disappearances, or perhaps even bodies they found that they attributed to somebody else, as we learned in the last episode. They're not the greatest at prosecuting anybody. So... but in the life of a predator, silence isn't an absence of action. It's an evolution of technique. And think of all the stuff he's learned in the last 4 years. In 1971, if 1971 was about impulses and 1973 was about testing boundaries, then 1974 was the year Robert C. Hansen became a ghost. And I think very much improved on his skill set.
He did. Perhaps he spent his weekends at the Pioneer School of Archery, standing on the line with his compound bow. I mean, archery is a sport of precision, patience, and the ability to remain perfectly still while the world moves around you. That's why I'm no good at it.
I've never tried, but I've always wanted to. I don't think I'd be great at it, but...
It's not hard. I mean, it's not easy. It does take some skill.
Now, or perhaps this was more of a rehearsal instead of a hobby. Maybe Hansen was training his mind to see people as marks that required the same cold, calculated trajectory as the bullseyes on his range. By excelling in a public, wholesome sport, he was reinforcing a mask of normalcy that made him basically invisible to the troopers because, boy, did they love a good, respectable man. And he really kept his nose clean. So, oh, you're good at archery as well?
You're good at it? Jeff,
I already knew Lady in Gray was on my survival team for the apocalypse.
I'm like, I'm not good, but I've done it. I can do decent, but I'm not good. So we're going to have, when we have a meetup, we're going to have an archery competition.
Ooh.
Now, we used to call out Captain for her insane labeling of things. Llama, your category headline for this next part really pushed me over the edge.
Sorry.
And I'm going to share it with you guys. The early bird gets the girl.
I didn't know what else to put. It was pretty accurate. I don't know what to tell you.
And I don't like it. Okay?
I don't like it either. I don't like it either. You're going to love my future ones.
While the city slept, the meek baker was awake. His routine at the bakery gave him a tactical advantage that no detective could match. Between 3 to 4 a.m., he would drive to work as the bars and the clubs on the strip were emptying out. He could watch the dancers, the drifters, and the runaways walking, learning who would be missed and who wouldn't. Was he scouting the disposables, the women the system already failed? Was he realizing that if he picked his targets carefully, the blank pages of the police records would stay blank?
Who do we know that was leaving a club at 3 a.m. and then was found several hours later? Oh, that's right. Shirley Ann Jonas.
As I said,
don't forget about her. She wasn't a transient or a sex worker of any kind, but he would leave home early because normally he would go to work at 4. So he would leave a whole hour early to go cruising. Okay.
And like we've said before, I also don't think he worked by himself.
Not all the times. I don't think so. Now, he could have used this time for intense geographic scouting as well. Without the pressure of law enforcement on his back, he could have spent his off hours driving the Seaward Highway and the rugged roads of the Matsu Valley. I mean, he definitely had spent a lot of time scouting places to put bodies in the future.
He did. Now, maybe he was looking for more than just fishing spots, like isolated gravel pits.
Oh, ZZ Mason, what?
Remote riverbanks.
Those are coming.
And wooded clearings where screams would be swallowed in the thickness of the spruce trees.
Beth Van Zanten.
Was he building a mental map of Alaska that existed off the grid? A map that possibly would eventually be populated by those extra X marks.
And if so, then surely he realized the limitations of a car. A license plate was easy to track, and a car can be seen at a trailhead. Had he thought about, I don't know, moving his hunt to the sky? Perhaps towards the Nick River and the vast unmonitored bush that could only be reached by a small plane? Was he preparing for the ultimate transition from a roadside kidnapper to a bush pilot who could make a person vanish into the thousands of square miles of the Alaskan wilderness, never to be seen again? I think so.
When Robert Hansen reemerges in 1975, he seemed more confident, more aggressive, and more convinced of his own invincibility. Why wouldn't he? I mean, why
honestly,
wouldn't he?
He absolutely should.
He should. I mean, like he should.
I can't even fault him for that. Like,
yeah. And that kind of confidence wasn't born overnight. Perhaps it was forged in the silence of 1974, a year where maybe he learned that if he kept his head down and his aim true, the world would let him do whatever he wanted because the police just basically give him a pass.
He had every reason to believe that.
I mean,
he had proof. You know?
When there's no accountability, people learn that what they did is okay.
Mm-hmm. Now, in the summer of 1975, Robert Hansen sat in his parole officer's office, the picture of a reformed citizen. And guess what he did? He asked for permission again to travel south to Seaward for the 4th of July holidays, claiming he had a simple, wholesome goal of wanting to go fishing because his last one was so nothing happened in 1973, right?
But isn't that called a pattern, Mr. Parole Officer? Why would you let him go twice? Okay. His parole officer, who saw only the hardworking baker and world-class archer, granted the request. Of course he did. Fishing for what? Hansen didn't say. But as soon as the paperwork was signed, the meek baker persona slipped just enough for him to ask a friend if he knew any girls in Seward that he could party with. I'm sorry, guys. It's
and
about
what friends?
What friends?
What friends? I want to know their names. I couldn't find their names, but I want to know their names.
Well,
ask a friend. Is it a JS person?
And friends could be like-minded people because, guys, they found each other somehow.
They did. Now, Robert Hansen didn't party. Okay. That man is not known for partying ever.
Well, we know what his party means.
Right. It is not, don't even think he had like a drinking problem or a drug problem. He didn't. Even when he would go to the strip
was the problem. He didn't need a drinking problem. He was the problem.
Now, Robert Hansen was returning to a familiar hunting ground. And once again, the 4th of July in Seaward would be marked not just by fireworks, but by the vanishing of another young woman.
And for the record, I'm just going to state right now, the fact he did this during my birthday month makes it even worse. July should not be tarnished. But just like in 1973, the town vibrated with the chaotic energy of the 4th of July. The streets were packed with runners for the annual Mount Marathon race and families celebrating the holiday. It's a great time to get out. But for Mary Kathleen Thill, July 5th was supposed to be a quiet Saturday, a day for routines, for errands, and for reaching out to the husband that she missed.
Now, at 22, Mary was a student at the Seaward Skills Center. Her husband, Michael, was hundreds of miles away on the North Slope, laboring on the Trans-Alaska Pipeline. It was a very typical Alaskan arrangement. Men would work the high-paying jobs in the north while building a life in the south, because living in the northern part of Alaska probably sucks, like a lot.
Yeah. That morning, Mary set out with a simple goal. She wanted to go to the library and write a letter to Michael. We know that a friend gave Mary a ride into town and dropped her off at a bakery. Sometime between 1:30 and 2 p.m., friends spotted her near the waterfall on Loyal Point Road. It was a landmark she knew well, just a half mile south of the bakery. Why do I feel like I recognize so many of these street names and areas?
I don't know, because we haven't been in Seaward yet. So this is our first
Oh,
time.
maybe because I've read ahead.
Probably. But as you can see in the little map here that Amos made, everything is very close together. You know,
It's a
this is
walking
not,
distance.
I mean, it's probably more miles than we think it is, but yeah, it's all, you know, right in a line. There's no like, oh, you know, you had to walk through woods and all. No, it's all pretty probably populated areas. Now, she was very easy to spot with her red, frizzy hair and distinctive pink framed glasses with thick lenses. And she was wearing an army jacket, a gray sweater, Levi's, and Tuffy hiking boots with a small black book bag on her back. Now, that just goes to show the cool weather in August, or I'm sorry, 4th of July, that they're still wearing like hiking boots and jackets and stuff. We would never. It'd be too hot, but not there. Not there.
So I Googled from the Seaward Skills Center down to the waterfall, 20 to 25-minute walk.
That's what, like 2 miles?
I'm like, that's not much.
Maybe 3? I don't know.
Like, that's not much. So,
no.
yeah.
Now, it's also been said by Hansen's former prison roommates decades later that Hansen would tell them about how much he had a thing for redheads and how they drove him wild, which, as a partial redhead, not a fan. Not a fan.
Somewhere between the waterfall and the library, the trail went cold. Mary never arrived to write her letter, and she never returned to her home on Loyal Point Road. When the festivities of the weekend began to wind down, the realization set in that Mary was gone.
The disappearance was instantly treated as foul play. Mary wasn't a drifter. She was a woman with a marriage she cherished and a life that was on pause, but not a life she wanted to abandon. When Michael, her husband, heard the news on the North Slope, he dropped everything and rushed back to Seaward, hoping to find his wife. But he returned to a town that had no answers for him.
The tragedy of Mary Thill is the sheer daylight nature of her disappearance. She wasn't in a dark alley or remote camp. She was just a half mile from a bakery, walking along a familiar road in a small town during a crowded holiday weekend. Her case still remains unsolved to this day.
Just so sad and awful.
People do not just disappear. Somebody saw something.
Right. I know, Teresa. He is a sicko. Have you listened to our other episodes? If you haven't, which is fine, because I know you just came back. But if you haven't, please go listen to them, because, girl, this is one of the wildest. If you think you know anything about Robert Hansen, you might, from his stuff in the 80s. But nobody talks about all the years before that. And that really is the most vile, disgusting part, I think. I mean, the 80s are vile and disgusting too, but none of that would have happened.
Just wait until it comes out what he did in the other state. But that's okay, because someday that's going to come to fruition.
Mm-hmm. Now, the case for Robert Hansen's culpability in the disappearances of Megan Emerick and Mary Thill is built on the foundation of proximity, geography, and physical X's on a map that the killer refused to explain. Because remember, well, I don't think we talked about it.
We haven't talked about it yet.
There will be a map. All right. Just remember X's map. And while Hansen eventually traded 17 lives for a plea deal, the names of these two young C-word women remain the secrets he guarded most fiercely until his death in 2014. That's right. Nothing. He will not say a word about those X's on his map at Resurrection Bay.
Yeah. The similarities between the two cases are too consistent, guys, to ignore. Both Megan and Mary were young. Both were associated with the C-word Skills Center, and both vanished while Hansen was verified to be in the area with his boat.
With his boat. Yeah. Now, Hansen spent numerous summers in C-word. Numerous. And said he would drive his truck and camper to C-word in the spring, leave them there, and commute back and forth from Anchorage in a car. That's right. He was there a lot in the summers of the early to mid 70s. He also, oh, wait, hold on. I forgot. I'm sorry. I'm running the slideshow and Amy's probably going to watch back and be like, Llama, you need to get it together.
Tell her it's hard.
I know. I'm like, is this even the right one? I don't know. He also described himself as a dock walker. That's right. This is his own words here. He admitted to strolling the C-word waterfront, bullshitting with fishermen to blend in. His words, blend in. He even confessed to using the promise of a fishing trip to lure later victims like Joanna Messina. Also C-word. Later, we'll find out about her. He was a man with multiple bases of operation and had a large boat that allowed him to vanish into Resurrection Bay at a moment's notice. I mean, I don't know how many things you need to put in a category to be like.
Something just popped in my head.
Yes.
Any chance Dexter was somebody heard about him taking women out, tying them and dropping them? Just,
but that was.
But no, but they wrote it now. But if they read stuff from back then.
I find the irony of the name Resurrection Bay.
Resurrection Bay. That's what I'm like.
It's haunting, right? Like, it's just like, interesting.
The distance between the Skills Center laundry room where Megan was last seen and the docks where Hansen kept his boat for a mere half-mile, 11-minute walk. The C-word Bakery, a place where Mary Thill was a familiar face, sat just a 3-minute car ride away from the boat launch. 3 minutes.
Yeah. Now there's on the map there, we have Mary down at the bottom. That was the last place she was seen. There's Megan's, the Skills Center. Like, this is literally just a straight shot anywhere. Anywhere. Now, when investigators raided Hansen's Anchorage home in 1983, they discovered, here it is. Sorry. I write a whole bunch of stuff ahead of time. And I don't know where we are.
Stuff, but I'm like,
I know.
Oh, wait, we haven't said that.
I know. I'm the worst at it too.
Forgive us, people.
I know. I'll be like, I'll say something and then like a minute or like a paragraph later, I'm like, oh, you did say that and explain it there. But I don't know. I don't remember.
It's okay.
Now, when investigators raided Hansen's Anchorage home in 1983, they discovered the aviation map, a literal map of terror. On it, Hansen had placed small X marks. 17 of them corresponded perfectly to the burial sites of the women he confessed to murdering. There was over 21, maybe 24 total. However, the map contained a few extra marks. 2 of those X's were located in the C-word and Resurrection Bay areas. Now, I'll say this, whether we do not know when Hansen began these maps. We don't know if they began in the 70s. Did they begin in the 80s? We don't know. We don't know if those represent those two or additional. Well, we don't know.
But why X's?
But he won't talk about him.
Don't admit to, because they were not the castaways. So years later, to Sergeant Glenn Floth, the math was simple.
Oh, by the way, I'm so sorry. Speaking of, to anybody listening now, it came to my attention today, and notes I had made previously that I didn't get to till now because it was later in the story that I had found it. His name is actually pronounced Flothy.
I don't care. Flothy, Flothy, loser, lossy.
No. We like him.
Oh, that's right. He's the good guy. He's the good guy. He's not the good one.
So, Mr. Flothy, if you are still alive, I apologize.
Sorry,
we've been pronouncing your name wrong the whole time. We'll do our best.
He's going to say it's probably not the first time.
No, probably not. No, I saw it in my notes today and I was like, man, way to go, Llama. Hi, Lainey. Hi.
Hello, Lainey. So 2 women disappeared from Seaward while Hansen was in town. Hansen admitted he was there, and he admitted he was looking for women. Yet he vehemently denied these specific kills. When confronted by the DA, Hansen's stuttering defense was immediate. I'm going to try to do this.
No, probably don't do that.
Okay.
Probably don't do that. That's not appropriate.
I was going to try to give pauses. I never had anything to do with any girls out of Seaward. No, I wasn't going to stutter. I was going to try to put pauses in where the stutters were.
Oh, okay. That's probably fine. I was like the other one, like, no.
No, I'm not going to try to stutter.
Even though he sucks.
He does suck. But other people who stutter don't suck.
No. Now, yes, Hansen's primary targets were the women of the Anchorage Strip, sex workers and dancers he believed the world wouldn't miss. And Mary Phil and Megan Emerick did not fit that profile, but neither was Susan Hubbard. And if you believe that he may be the one responsible for the deaths of Beth Van Zanten, also not a sex worker or anything like that, Shirley Jonas, also not, ZZ Mason, also not. They weren't sex workers or dancers either. And you know what else I think about the Resurrection Bay area too? Is when he says I didn't. Remember, he was asking friends for girls that could party. Like if he, the Resurrection Bay marks, I do believe. Well, not necessarily believe, but I have a strong theory that those might have not been just him.
There's a couple through this that I think are not just him.
I have questions. I do.
Yeah. So, sorry, I just got a message. So, Sergeant Glenn Fluffy also believed that throughout Hansen's career, he suffered from impulse breaks in his routine. He would see a redheaded woman like Mary or Megan walking a dormitory, and the compulsion would override his tactical system. It's like a kid in the candy store. He just got all, because these women came from respectable backgrounds. Hansen likely felt a different kind of tactical fear or a twisted sense of shame, leading him to deny them even when the game was up. Yeah.
And unlike the shallow graves in the Nick River silt, the depths of Resurrection Bay are unforgiving. If Hansen used his boat to dispose of Mary and Megan, he knew the ocean would ensure they were never recovered. Alaskan waters they're pretty serious of all of the waters and bays.
That you would potentially dump bodies in such a beautiful, serene place.
Gorgeous place. I can't
How
even
could
imagine.
you even let that?
Because he's garbage and we hate him.
Yeah.
He's the worst.
This theory was bolstered in 2008 by Manfred West and Ken Gage, Hansen's former prison roommates at Spring Creek Correctional Center. Now, they both claimed that Hansen admitted to killing Mary Phil and to dumping her body in the bay, and that he took Megan Emerick to a remote cabin accessible only by boat to be buried. He allegedly also drew a picture of this mystery cabin. I hate him. You know, that is a good. Redheads maybe were like his ideal, his.
Well, only Phil was a redhead. Megan was a brunette, but
she kind of, with that sunglasses, and I'm going to say she has red highlights.
It could have been depending what
Auburn,
light I'm
whatever
in.
You call it.
Depends on what color you see my hair. You know what I mean? Like if it's light, if it's sunny day, my hair is going to reflect red.
I will tell you, when we met for the live show, I was like, damn, her hair is red outside. In the sun, yeah. I was like, damn, girl.
Yeah. Yeah. But otherwise, it just looks like I'm a brunette most of the time.
Explains why you're so fiery.
That's true. That's true. Now, I know the word of two prisoners who wanted to trade this information to lessen their sentence leaves a lot to be desired. I understand that. But both the FBI and the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children interviewed them. Quote, it's train time. Quote, some of this may be far-fetched. Some of it may not, said Janet Franson, the investigator working the case for the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Quote, at least what I've been able to track down and verify, it's been good info, end quote. So that's,
I like the bed, sweetie.
We'll whisper to you.
Go back to sleep.
Until we're like, screw this guy. So, I mean, that's a really big deal. Yeah. And I listened to this podcast. I'm not even going to name them because I don't even want anybody to go check them out because the way they talked about things, I don't like them.
Is that the one I went and listened to with the girl?
Oh, I don't know if it was the same one.
You told me about it and I went and checked it out.
Did you?
Yes, I did. The one that you pulled the transcript for?
Yes, yes.
Girl,
don't like them.
Do not mention their names.
Nope,
they
I'm not going to.
Not deserve. Nope.
Not gonna. But I did read Manafort's story. I did listen to what he had to say. Now, Ken Gage can go fuck himself. He refused to say anything unless he got a deal. And listen, they're not in there for good crimes, all right? Especially Ken. Wes isn't great either. But of the two, Ken can go fuck himself. He's out, by the way. So, well, I don't know if he's still alive, but he did get out. I don't know where West is. I think he's still in there. But I will say, of what West had to say, at the very least, he really did want somebody. He had to do and say a lot of things to Hansen he wasn't happy about or pleased about and was disgusted by, to get information about these two girls. Because when they're in prison, Spring Creek Correction Center, you want to take a guess where it is? It's by Seaward.
It's by Seaward.
It's right there. It's right there where these girls went missing. So I will give West the credit in that he was willing to get this information and he did not end up getting anything out of it.
He didn't. He did it for the right reason.
He did. The other one,
the people I trust.
The other one, no. So I just want to preface by those two. So
Ken Gage, I could see being on the TMI dating thing from the 80s. Look at him. I could imagine him being one of those guys.
His crimes were not great. No. You don't want him on any dating site.
No, but he just that look of him. So, and one of the things that they allegedly verified was the existence of the cabin from Darla Hansen herself.
Yeah.
She said that it did exist and that she had been there, but she had no idea how to find it as she hadn't been there more than a time or two over the years. Darla, really? I'm sorry. I mean, really? How do you not remember at least some general idea of where you went? But that's just
in fairness to Darla, in that area, like it's just like these little islands. Like if you don't know how to navigate water, like it wasn't like a. It was,
I know, but It took us 15 minutes and he turned right out of the dock. I mean, there's some information. And maybe she did, and we just don't have the records.
Well, remember, she did not like riding boats. So I think she only went like a time or two. And
and maybe she had that's true. Maybe she went below. Okay, sorry, Darla.
Yeah, no, she very much said it was there. She was just like, I don't even know. Like, I don't even know where to begin to. I can't navigate my way on a boat at all. Even the small lakes we have, I'm like, I don't which way.
I am taking
I don't know.
a screenshot of something that just popped up that Double H apparently put on my calendar, which is appropriate for right now.
Oh, no.
Trash out tomorrow.
Oh.
It's a reminder to take the trash out. And I'm like, we're taking the trash out right now. We're talking about Hansen.
Yes.
Okay. Now, Robert Hansen sadly took the truth to his grave, but the death map he left behind serves as a silent witness to those lives he refused to acknowledge.
Yeah.
And why else would he put X's on there? He didn't put X's just because, guys.
You'll learn definitely not. You will learn definitely not. So as the search for Mary Phil grew cold, and the silent decade was punctuated by a scream that was nearly silenced by the bureaucracy of the law, Robert Hansen had returned from his July fishing trip with a sharpened appetite and a dangerous new confidence.
Because, guys, he learned that if no body was found, the police eventually stopped looking, especially in Alaska. But in late September 1975, he made a mistake. He chose a victim who fought back, and he chose a system that was designed to look the other way.
Yeah. So in 1975, Anchorage, because they're amazing, utilized a third-party rape reporting system. It was a well-intentioned but deeply flawed mechanism that allowed victims to report a sexual assault through a third party, often a crisis center or a doctor, without immediately filing a formal police report. The goal was to provide trauma-enforced care and privacy. And the reality for Robert Hansen was basically a get-out-of-jail-free card. This was not great. I think maybe this was like the beginning of idea of like what mandated reporters are today. Ish, but it's not great.
They didn't think it through. So if a victim used the system, the police were notified that an assault had occurred, but they were often blocked from seeing the victim's name or pursuing the suspect unless the victim felt safe enough to go official. So for a predator like Hansen, this created a legal dead zone where he could commit a crime and the authorities could know about it, yet he remained untouchable.
Which is wild.
That is wild to me that I hope
why would the police not have your
it.
info? I just don't understand. Like, how was this at all productive? Like, I don't get it.
It basically gave police permission to not do their job.
Right? Like, talk about a way to dehumanize women more. You can't even put a name to these stories that the police were seeing. Ugh.
Wait a minute. Is Lainey listening to us in her ears while she's on stage? Is that what that is saying?
No, above she says she's making dinner, silly ghost.
Okay, I didn't
Grow up, Terry.
I didn't see that one. I'm like going, girl, don't you need to be hearing what you're singing? Okay.
I mean,
I feel much better now.
Now, on October 5th, 1975, just a few months after the disappearance of Mary Phil, Cheryl Messer of the Anchorage Rape and Assault Center brought a terrifying report to investigator Sam Barnard. It was a story of a predator who wasn't just violent, he was calculating.
The victim was a 28-year-old woman working as a dancer at the Kit Kat Club. She had met a man there, and in a moment of normalcy that would prove nearly fatal, gave him her phone number. At 4 a.m. on September 28th, the man called her to arrange a meeting at the Fork and Spoon restaurant. I love their literal names.
I know the clubs have wild names.
I know, but even the restaurant, Fork and Spoon.
I know. My favorite is the strip club called Great Alaskan Bush Company.
Bush. I know. I love that.
By the way, there's one in Arizona now for some reason.
There is.
Because, okay. Well, when she arrived, the meek baker disappeared. He pulled a large semi-automatic pistol and forced her into his vehicle, a deep red 1975 station wagon with a black interior. Despite her terror, the victim managed to memorize the license plate, AY261.
Hansen drove her north of Anchorage to a state park in Chugach?
Chikayak? I don't know. We did our best, Alaskans. I'm sorry.
I don't know. There, the assault became a ritual of dominance. He didn't just hurt her. He issued commands with a cold, demanding authority. If you don't do as you're told, I'll kill you.
Now, to further isolate her, Hansen spun a web of lies designed to make himself seem like part of a larger, unstoppable force. He claimed he worked on the Trans-Alaska Pipeline and that he and a friend were systematically raping women across the Anchorage area. It was a psychological tactic to make the victim feel that the entire state was a hunting ground. Now, listen, we know he didn't work the pipeline, but in every lie is a little bit of truth.
I was getting ready to say, every single lie is a bit of truth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Hansen's most effective weapon wasn't his gun. It was his understanding of social stigma. He looked at the women and played what he believed was the high card. I know you won't be a good witness against me. You're a nude dancer and prostitute, he told her. Hansen, sorry. He was betting that the police wouldn't believe a woman from the Strip over a local business owner. He was betting that her shame would keep her silent.
I mean, why wouldn't he? It's true.
That's what he's been taught. High 80s.
Literally taught.
He was taught that.
By the law, by the judicial system, by everything.
And he's reformed now, guys.
He's reformed. He's a good family man. Now, and Hansen's bet almost paid off. The victim refused to give her name to the police, swearing Cheryl Messer to secrecy. However, the reason for her silence went deeper than her work at the Kit Kat Club. The dancer was living a double life. She was actually a school teacher from the lower 48, working the clubs to make ends meet. She lived in a state of dual terror, fearing that Robert Hansen would take her life and fearing that the school district in the lower 48 would take her livelihood if her involvement became public. Disgusting. And she had every reason to believe that too. She wasn't wrong.
I was like, she wasn't wrong. She had every reason. But on October 10th, 1975, investigator Barnard pulled up to a quiet residential street in Anchorage. There, sitting in the driveway of a modest home, was the exact car described by Jane Doe. A 1975 red Volvo station wagon with black interior.
Now, the vehicle wasn't just a match for the make and model. It was the physical manifestation of the victim's trauma. Barnard noted the deep red exterior, a detail that stood out against the graying October light of Anchorage. The license plate was the final confirmation. The car belonged to Robert C. Hansen, which is just kind of crazy to me because with Patty Roberts, he wrote down, different information on the hotel thing, and I'm just surprised.
But remember, he didn't write down the information of what he was driving. Someone saw this and was in it.
That is
If he
true.
would have went to a hotel, he would have probably written that he was in a blue Pinto or something.
That is true. That's a fair point. Yes.
Bernard didn't stop at the car. He moved to verify the man behind the wheel. When he cross-referenced the victim's descriptions, 30 years old, 5'8", brownish blonde hair, blue eyes, hair parted on the side, wire-rimmed glasses, and a slight stutter in his speech, it was a perfect 100% match to Robert Hansen.
Now, the victim, despite her terror and the darkness of the Chugaic woods, had provided a description so accurate it was effectively a fingerprint. Barnard procured an unmarked photograph of Hansen, a standard police headshot, and sent it through the secret channel of Cheryl Messer to the victim.
A few days later, on October 14th, investigator Sam Barnard sat across from Robert Hansen. Hansen didn't just deny the crime. Instead, he rewrote it, casting himself as the victim of a shakedown and a scorned woman.
Again. That's what he said about Patty Roberts, too.
I know. I'm like,
This sure does happen a lot to one person. It's kind of suspicious. Now, Hansen admitted to knowing a girl from the Kit Kat Club. He admitted to picking her up while his wife was out of town, a rare moment of honesty used to anchor a larger lie. But his story was riddled with classic deflections. He claimed that they had a mutual agreement for sex, but once they were in the car, she surprised him by demanding $100. Yeah, right. He said he became upset, but simply drove her back to the club where she allegedly threw a tantrum and called him names. Gosh, girls are so mean.
And yet nobody saw him drop her back off, right? Nobody.
I mean, it's just like, really, bro? Like, really?
But he gotten away with it. Why would he think to do anything different?
No.
So by painting the victim as a disgruntled sex worker and himself as a principled man who refused to pay, Hansen took full advantage of the heir's inherent bias against women in the adult entertainment industry, which is still alive today in 2026.
Hell, as we learn in Alaska, it doesn't matter if you're in the industry or not.
No.
If you just have the title of woman, it all falls under the same. Now, when Barnard pressed him on the specifics, like the semi-automatic pistol and his whereabouts on September 28th, Hansen leans real hard into his status as rehabilitated citizen. Quote, I'm a convicted felon. I can't own a gun. Besides, I was in Seaward that day fishing. I know that's not his accent, but like that's exactly how I imagine that sounding. Like it's so contrite. Like that's an actual quote by him, in case you're wondering.
It is. Yeah. I just no.
Because, all felons are so honest.
That I'm going to save my rant on this one, but it was a brilliant, if stuttered, defense. He used his criminal record as a shield, suggesting it was impossible for him to have a weapon because, felons don't lie, right?
Not in Alaska, too, during the 70s when shit's crazy.
Then he used the site of his actual suspected crimes, the disappearance of Megan Emerick and Mary Thill, to cover up a crime he didn't realize was starting to create a map of his own movements. I don't understand.
He's something. Now, 2 days after the interview, the investigation hit a peak and a valley simultaneously. Cheryl Messer called Barnard with a breakthrough. The victim had seen the photograph of Robert Hansen and positively identified him as her attacker. There was no doubt. The car matched, the stutter, his face, everything. Right? Nothing but net on that one.
And I'm going to just say why that isn't good enough. I can't why, but it's just like seriously. But the legal system intervened. Despite the positive ID, Jane Doe, the school teacher living a double life, remained paralyzed by fear. And guys, I don't blame her. She refused to speak to the police. She refused to let her name be put on a subpoena. She feared the social death of her career almost as much as the physical death that Hansen had threatened.
Mm-hmm.
She's not wrong.
And listen, I still don't blame her because
I
even
do
if
not
she
blame
would,
her.
even if she would have taken it to court, as we've learned so far,
Exactly.
doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It's going to get thrown out. He'll get out in 6 months.
I
He's
do
a great
not
guy, blah,
fault
blah,
her.
blah.
I
No,
do not fault her.
she wasn't wrong. I do not think, honestly, I don't think any justice would have come for her.
But can
It
I
should
ask a
have. It
question?
absolutely should have, but it didn't.
Why didn't law enforcement say, okay, she's not going to come forward. Maybe we should put somebody on him to watch him?
Because
See what
he's
else
an
he's doing.
honest man. He's a respectable member of the community, Terry. He can't just go doing that. Gosh, what about his reputation? Have you ever thought about the reputation of a middle-class white man before,
I
Terry?
have. And
How
I'm
dare
sorry.
you?
We have learned, and the police should know he's not respectable.
Mm-hmm.
How much more evidence do we need? As we learned with the women in Alaska, even if they had it on video,
It's
they
crazy.
wouldn't believe it.
It's absolutely crazy. Where
I
were we?
hate him. I hate Alaska. Every woman should leave Alaska. I'm just telling you, you should leave Alaska. Because then the men will leave. If there's no women, the men will leave.
That's true. Now, because of the silence, the case was put on hold. The report was destined for a dusty archive, and Robert Hansen was allowed to walk back to his bakery. He had looked an investigator in the eye, lied about a gun he definitely owned, and realized that as long as his victims were afraid of the light, then he could stay in the dark forever. I mean, again, why not? The system keeps giving him win after win after win.
I'm
Unbelievable.
sorry. I had to pour another one because I just can't. What's even more interesting in this Jane Doe story is that Hansen's choice of location for this assault was no accident, guys. He took her to Chugach State Park, specifically in the Chugach area. This was the same rugged area where Beth Van Zanten had been found murdered at McHugh Creek 4 years earlier.
Mm-hmm. Look at all
Guys,
these puzzle pieces fitting together.
hunters do not change. Growing up in a family that my dad, my brother, and my mom all hunted, they know what works for them. They know where to go to get deer. It's no different for elk, bear, or women.
Anything. You guys see how, as we go along, these little pieces.
You're all like putting the puzzle pieces together. We should make a visual with all the little puzzle pieces, and at the end, it just all come together.
Right. Now, Hansen was effectively returning to his original stomping grounds, in my opinion. He knew every turnout, every gravel pit, and every trail where the silent killer, the Alaskan elements, could help him maintain control.
By late 1976, Robert Hansen had survived multiple close calls with the law. He had beaten the 1971 assault charge with a light sentence, and he navigated the silent year of 1974. And he had just slipped through the fingers of investigator Barnard in the 1975 kidnapping case. He was, in his own mind, a master of the system.
He just wasn't wrong.
And he wasn't wrong.
The system was built for a man like him.
It was.
Let's be honest.
It was. And that hurts in so many ways. But in November 1976, the butcher baker was brought down not by an elite task force, but by his own bizarre, impulsive need that he said was to be a good son.
Oh, I know, right? It's so hard to say.
When I saw that, I was like, you're kidding me.
No, I'm not. No. And personally, I think his whole story here that we're about to talk about is complete total bullshit.
It's bullshit.
All right. And that chainsaw was meant for something more nefarious.
Oh.
Okay. Because he uses the same tactic that he used with police previously and was able to get away with it every time. He was a good guy who made a mistake, but he was not a real criminal. So you guys let us know what you think. If you think he's bullshit in this entire excuse of how this whole thing played out, because I call it bullshit on it. Especially when we know what his dad was like. Like, none of this even makes any sense. Well,
it doesn't.
We'll wait till later.
It doesn't make sense. But it also makes me think of the Golden State Killer who got arrested for stealing a hammer and pepper spray that he used to use on victims. I mean,
he stole it, obviously. I just think his reasonings for
but his reasoning,
bullshit.
But the Golden State Butcher said he had to steal it.
Well, let me see what I think.
No, they won't. But he had to steal the dog repellent because dogs tried to come at him when he was on patrol.
Right.
And the hammer was to do repairs at his house. Oh my gosh. I love that, Lainey. Love that. Okay. We're going to need to make some merch with some.
Just all the bowls and the poop. Yes.
Now, let me just set this for you guys. Okay. The setting was a Fred Meyer, a place where you could buy a gallon of milk in one aisle and a heavy-duty chainsaw in the next. Hansen's parents were visiting from Oregon for the holidays, and the pressure of being the successful, rehabilitated son was weighing on him.
Oh, poor little Hansen.
A poor little. I mean, his dad is a piece of shit.
I don't even know if his dad was that bad. We don't even know.
I don't know.
We're supposed to take Hansen's word for it?
You're right. Listen to me. I was taking his.
He doesn't sound great. Oh my
God. He just gaslighted me.
He doesn't sound great. His dad does not sound great on paper. Okay. No.
But I assumed because his son said it and he was from Poland or wherever, I believed. Shame on me.
I'm just saying. I'm bad. Now, as he wandered around the tool section, he fixated on a chainsaw because his father had mentioned wanting one for camping trips on the Oregon coast. In Hansen's twisted internal monologue, that wasn't about theft. It was about his son's devotion. Quote, I wanted almost more than anything to please my father and could just imagine the expression on his face on Christmas Day if I could just give him that saw. It doesn't even make any fucking sense, Bob.
Like, we go camping and not once has Double H said, damn, I wish we would have brought a chainsaw with us.
Also, how does his dad not have a chainsaw? They're not super affluent on either side, but they are well-to-do.
To go camping back in the day? Okay, so Lady in Gray said Hansen's friend said the dad was rough.
But like rough at what standards? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. Because maybe his dad was just an asshole.
I mean, yeah, his dad does sound like an asshole. But you are not gonna convince me that his bullshit story that he gives about his upbringing and how the girls treated him in school is why he's like this. No, fuck you. It's not like that.
Bullshit that the dad didn't have a chainsaw.
Yeah. At this point, he
lives in Oregon, right? Yes. Because in Texas, that would be like saying, yeah, I had to buy my dad a gun because he always wanted one.
Exactly.
If your dad wanted a gun, he would go buy it.
Exactly. His dad's probably in his 60s or 70s. He owned a resort. Like he was not a
my dad
man.
was demanding. My dad was abusive. My dad was an alcoholic. And guess what? I don't kill people.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. His dad does not sound great.
So,
But I'll
for a
listen to
man,
other people's words, not Robert's, not
that's
Bab's.
true.
Her guy's name's Bob.
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 For a man who could meticulously plan an abduction and scrub a crime scene, his attempt at retail theft was shockingly amateur. Okay. He didn't hide the saw or wait for a distraction. This is great. Instead, he placed an old, crumpled Fred Meyer receipt from his pocket and placed it on top of a chainsaw box, hoping the scrap of paper would serve as a cloak of legitimacy.
I think it's suspicious he had an old receipt in his pocket. The fuck you did, Bob.
I mean, if he carried a purse, I would believe a little more. But a pocket, do you not wash your clothes?
Exactly.
That or he planned it and just thought, oh, this will look great and I'll just bring it. Maybe it was in his truck. But I'm sorry, a crumpled old receipt isn't going to look like you just got it. I mean, let's just be real here.
No. Now then, he took the receipt. He walked towards the exit, bypassing the registers, acting as if the receipt proved his ownership. He was gambling on the idea that no one would challenge a neatly dressed family man, but he was wrong. A store security guard had been watching him the entire time. And as he stepped into the crisp November air, the hand of the law finally landed on his shoulder.
The incident offers a rare look at the dichotomy of Robert's personality. He could be a high functioning predator who could manage a bakery, soon fly a plane, and stalk victims for weeks without leaving a trace. Then there would be his impulsiveness, that he would risk his entire life, his home, his family, and his freedom just to steal a chainsaw because he felt an impulsive thought about his father's Christmas morning expression, kind of like redheads.
It just doesn't. Listen, he was a
Doesn't make sense.
kleptomaniac. Like there's no
No.
doubt he had a stealing problem. Yes,
But
it's the
chainsaw,
reasons bullshit.
yeah,
I don't believe it. You want to prove to your dad you're a reformed man, so you steal a chainsaw that you could absolutely
so you're going
afford
to
and
take a
so
chance of
conceive?
getting caught so that your dad realizes you're not. Yeah, it's just.
Do I think he couldn't contain his impulse to do that? Yes, I do believe
Absolutely.
that. But his whole story of why, no, I don't believe it for 1 second. It sounds just like his other lie, like literally to a T, his other lies of, I was just trying to be a good person. I'm just a good guy.
Okay, but in his defense, it's always worked for him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I agree.
His defense.
I don't believe it. Now, Hansen later tried to justify the theft by pointing to his financial stress, by saying that he and his wife had just bought a new home, pouring 9 years of savings into the mortgage. And also he owned a boat and a camper and a truck and a new car and all
she
of that.
had
So
money, remember?
she did. She did, because she paid for everything. Bob paid for pretty much nothing. Now, he painted himself as a man pushed to the brink by the burden of being a provider. Poor meek Bob. Oh. None of that's true, by the way. None of that is true in his story, whatever. That is all bullshit. His wife worked full-time as a teacher. She paid the bills for the house. His money was his fun money. Yeah. So he probably did contribute to the savings of the house.
But
sure.
It's not like she was a stay-at-home mom, guys.
No.
He wasn't paying everything.
And you poured all your savings? No, you didn't. Stop. It's the 70s. Houses cost what, like $10? Get out of here, Michael. Get out of here. It's a quote from Arrested Development. How
Okay,
much could a banana cost, Michael? $10.
No idea what she is saying.
Somebody out there is going to get it, and they're going to leave a comment and be like, yes.
Okay, we'll just keep going then.
Lucille for the win.
It is one of the most humiliating ironies in the entire history of Alaskan crime. Yeah, Monkey, but I know you're not here to see me, Sue. It's okay to say hi, Llama. It's okay. Robert Hansen, a man who had successfully navigated a silent decade of abduction, sexual violence, and likely murder, was finally brought down not by a team of experienced investigators, but by a store security guard at Fred Meyer.
Mm.
Which
That
I
is
love.
usually the way it goes.
Hi, monkey.
Now, by 1976, the contrast between Hansen's crimes was enough to give anyone whiplash. So let's just do a very quick roundup. All right. 1971, Susan Hepburn, attempted kidnapping, followed by the successful kidnapping and rape of Patty Roberts, and was a prime suspect. Well, I don't know if I'd say our prime suspect, not the law's prime suspect, our prime suspect in the disappearance and murder of Beth Van Zanten, all of which, hello, Wicked Banshee, he only spent a few months behind bars for the attempted kidnapping on Susan. Now, 1972, he likely stalked and left Shirley Jonas to freeze in a truck yard. Also, could be the murderer of Ziegler ZZ Mason case, but was not really on the law enforcement's list of suspects because they got tunnel vision with the tall man in the yellow and Gary. So, but if you are keeping track, check on the similarities of all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in 1973 and 1975, as we've just said, he was in Seward, and the only common thread in the disappearance of Megan Emerick and Mary Thill. He was there. And then, obviously, in 1975, when positively identified by Jane Zoe, another kidnapping survivor who even provided his license plate number, but because of her fear, both from him and society to come forward, he was never arrested.
I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I have a problem that with Jane Doe, and I think I told you this in the comments. Everything she said turned out to be true. The license plate number, the car. Why didn't they believe that he had a gun and go do a search warrant on his house and all of his stuff, his bakery and everything to find it?
She's a sex worker. Who cares, Terry?
Because
it's
she was
Alaska.
right. Everything she pointed out was once again right. Like Patty Roberts, they could have parole violated him for having a gun.
Absolutely.
And every time we go to say it, I think we're going to say the C word too.
Every time I wrote it, I was like, they're totally going to think C word.
Yeah. It's like, not the C word, guys. We're talking about C word.
And yet after 5 years of high stakes predatory behavior, he was finally arrested for walking out of a sliding glass door with a box and a fake receipt. None of those lies we just mentioned were enough to arrest him, to put him behind bars. Nope. A chainsaw at Fred Meyer. The real crimes they're prosecuting.
And guys, to some degree, it was like a slap in the face to his victims. But unlike a sexual assault case, which in 1976 devolved into a he said, she said battle, especially if the victim worked on the strip, shoplifting had a physical smoking gun, so to speak. That saw was in his hands, and the store had the witness.
The legal system in the mid-70s, still now, and quite frankly, as I wrote, just keep reading what you wrote, Llama. The legal system of the mid-70s, and quite frankly, even in today's world, that's how you know I write things. Because I'm like, oh, you know what I would say right here? Let me just say it. And then I did say those things.
That's what's great. We write what we are saying.
Yeah. It still invokes the same thing as you're reading it weeks later. Was often more efficient at processing property crimes against a major corporation like Fred Meyer, the true victims of the world, than it was at prosecuting complicated, violent crimes against marginalized women, or just simply women in general. Because Hansen was a convicted felon, the act of stealing a $200 tool was a clear-out violation of his parole. Don't worry that he might have a gun or anything that he said he didn't have. Don't bother checking. It didn't require a terrified school teacher to testify in open court. It only required a police report and a store manager.
Because, guys, a saw is more important. Don't forget that.
That's right.
This arrest did what the screams of dozen women couldn't. It put Robert Hansen back in front of a judge who was losing his patience. While it felt ridiculous, infuriating, even that a chainsaw was a catalyst for his downfall, it finally stripped away his rehabilitated status. For the first time in years, the Meek Baker wasn't just a stuttering neighbor, he was a recidivist.
Now, the absurdity of Robert Hansen's criminal record reached a new peak in 1977. While he was entangled in the legal fallout of the chainsaw incident, he wasn't sitting at home reflecting on his life choices, because of course he wasn't. Instead, he was looking at the horizon because, I mean, why should he take it seriously? He has done way worse to human beings and had nothing to worry about. Why should he give a shit about a chainsaw charge?
Yeah. And we both said, why would he at the same time? No, guys, that was not written down anywhere for us to say at the same time.
I'm pretty sure those that are listening are probably like, well, yeah, why would he at this point? You know,
he understood that his greatest weakness was the road. Every time he stopped at a red light with a woman in his car, he was one broken taillight away from a life sentence. To become truly invisible, he needed to leave the pavement behind and the waters. He needed to fly.
So Hansen applied for his pilot license because why not? But the Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA, sorry, wrong one there. FAA wasn't as easily swayed by the Meek Baker persona as the Anchorage courts. During his medical evaluation, a red flag appeared. Hansen was purportedly using the drug lithium to treat his stutter and nervousness. Now, which doesn't even make any sense nowadays, but whatever. It was the 70s. They didn't know, whatever. And he wasn't, but okay. Now, the FAA's ruling was swift and critical. Lithium use was a disqualifier for a pilot certificate. They grounded him before he could even officially take off. They were like, nope, which is kind of weird, but okay.
I think it still is.
Really? That's interesting. I took it. It didn't really make a difference in any part of anything, but okay.
Yeah, I think it's
still is. I'm not opposed. All right. Flying a plane is very serious stuff. Okay. I understand.
So in a typical display of Alaskan frontier logic, the rules for flying a plane were strict, but the rules for buying one were non-existent. They were nada. The FAA might care about your medication, but a private seller only cares about your cash.
That's right.
Which is wild to me.
It seems wild, but we'll get there. We'll get there. I understand why it seems wild, but think about it like this, right? Like you can buy a car. You don't need a license to be able to buy a car.
In Texas, to be able to register that car with the state, you have to have insurance and a active driver's license.
Oh, no shit. Oh, you don't need that in Ohio. So this is still a thing.
In Texas, you do. Even if it's one that you're just wanting to fix up and things, then you have to file for a thing that it's a non-working vehicle. I mean, there's some loops to go through. So yes.
I'll be honest, that's pretty restrictive for Texas. I'm surprised it's Texas. Ohio, we're like, fuck it. Whatever you want. It's fine. No, we don't have to do that here in Ohio. That's
because when I got my car at 16, my parents bought it before it was my birthday, but they couldn't do anything, put it for me. They had to put it in their name because I didn't have a license yet. I only had a permit. They wouldn't even take my permit.
Wow. Oh, interesting. Okay. All right. I mean, I don't think it's that,
So to me, that's
rich
why
people buy planes all the time and they don't have pilot's license. So
but how did you get an FAA number?
I mean, I agree. Now, in a move that seems impossible in hindsight, according to Terry and many people, of the states, Hansen was able to register his aircraft in his own name. He received a legitimate FAA tail numbers, including the infamous N17286 for his Piper Super Club. He was now a pilot in every sense that mattered to a predator, because, I mean, honestly, who gives a shit? You're right. Killing people. You don't care about a license. Even if the government said he wasn't. He now had the keys to the wilderness. I mean, people are going to crime that are going to do whatever they want. They are. That just is how it is.
That is
but
true, but
for a plane, though, it is kind of crazy.
It's a plane.
It is kind of crazy. So, that's a fair point. Well, we don't know. In Texas, they're apparently crazy.
No, you just get the insurance for 1 month. You register the car, and then you don't pay the insurance bill, and you no longer have insurance, but your car is registered for the next.
You don't even have to provide proof of insurance at the BMV here. Only if you get caught driving do you have to provide insurance in Ohio.
That is why people in Ohio are driving into restaurants
buildings all the buildings
time. Because they don't.
I know. It's
Ohio is like the wild, wild west of Alaska, but with cars.
But with cars. It's true. It's a crazy place.
There's parts of Texas that when you take your license, if it's a dry area, to prove that you're 21, they take everybody's license and they put in the number and they track it. And they have to track how many drinks you have and stuff. Yeah.
Aren't you all the state of the free? Like, are you kidding me?
It depends on if it's a dry county, because we're in the Bible Belt, baby.
Oh, alcohol. Oh, you're right. That's so serious.
We're in the
Fuck
Bible
everybody's
Belt.
Rights, right? Wow, that's wild.
But you can beat your wives. It's fine.
We have dry counties here, but we don't do that kind of crazy. But
so
I'm just kidding.
It's all crazy.
Every place has their crazy. All right. Texas isn't the only place that has the crazy. We all got it.
Now, the transition from the red Volvo station wagon to the cockpit of a Bush place changed the nature of his crimes forever.
You enunciated that on purpose. Is it because Savage was here? I'm just kidding.
Because on my third vodka tonic, the airplane now solved his greatest fear of getting caught. In the bush, there are no witnesses, no patrol cars, and no third-party reporting centers.
I know. Oh, I got a video here. You know what? Amy's watching. She's like, Llama, you were supposed to put a picture like 20 minutes ago. And I know that's Robert in front of his plane that I forgot to show a whole 2 sections ago.
Sad? He looks so normal.
I know.
He looks so normal.
Like, I'll be honest. I mean, he's not like the cutest of guys, but he's not like
if you've given me a 6-pack of different things and say pick the serial killer, I wouldn't have picked him.
No,
I would have picked Savage because of his good-looking eyes.
He has the blue eyes.
Just kidding, Savage. Just
suck me in. Oh, don't enunciate that word, Llama. He's gonna run with it. No, I agree. This picture of him, he is not like, okay.
You're kidding me.
Yes, that's true. I did know that. And I think what's the other bourbon one?
So it's
in Kentucky
there, but they don't sell it.
Okay. I think it's the way for what's the other? There's Jack Daniels. What's the other one? Jim Beam is in Kentucky, and I believe that's in a tri-county too. No, he doesn't. Well, that's the thing about monsters, right? They never actually look like monsters. But honestly, he was not at this point in his life. As he got older, which I feel like that happens to a lot of men, honestly. They once they get to like a certain like adult age, they do become more like man attractive. Does that make sense? Because there's like, there's the boy, there's the teen boy, the young boy, and then there's like the man physique. Women do it too. We have the same things happen to our body where you become a mature woman looking at a certain point.
Agreed.
So
like George Clooney was not attractive younger. He got more attractive the older he got.
That's true. I also have
That's
a
what I'm
thing
trying.
for
Yeah.
silver foxes and older men, even though I'm not with one. But yes, I agree. Amos says, so in Texas, you can't buy a car without a driver's license? Apparently not.
No, because you have to have a driver's license to have the insurance, and you have to have an insurance to buy a car.
Savage. That's crazy. That's not how it is in Michigan either, is it, Amos? Y'all are crazy down there in Texas.
Okay, Michigan also tries to charge you for a parcel package for an envelope.
That's
So
true. Michigan
don't even start with me.
That's true.
Let's
We
just
drive
keep
into
going.
buildings. Where are we? I don't even know.
You are right there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right. Because I was putting the video on with no sound.
I thought you needed more time, so I was trying to buy you time.
No, thank you. You're the best. I thought this was going to be a video, but it's not doing anything.
So it's like a man.
I don't know what Amos meant. She said, play as much. It's 3 minutes and 11 seconds. Play as much as you want. No sound was the note she left for me.
I'm reading it, but there's no video.
I'm not saying anything.
Okay.
That's weird. Also, it could be me, Amy, not you. She's probably like, God damn it, Llama. One night
Amy,
I need off.
To show up in the right room tonight for the show.
I didn't.
So we're just going to blame it on her.
I did. It doesn't matter.
We can play it next time.
Doesn't matter. It's just a video of the river. It's fine. Now, Hansen didn't just want to kill. He wanted to hunt. The plane allowed him to turn the
there is a video, Llama. You've got a little button. See the little thing? It's saying replay it.
I don't have that open because I'm just using the remote
thing. You're sharing it on your screen. It's got the little replay button on
I'm using the remote. There you
there
go.
It goes.
It's the water. Oh, jeez. Oh, my jeez Louise. Oh, my God, you guys.
Oh, have another drink, honey. Have another drink.
I just poured my third one, and it's your fault.
So did I, too.
I know.
Okay.
See, it doesn't look like it's moving on our show, though.
It was for the first couple of minutes.
Well,
just let it play.
Just pretend. Envision it in your mind, since people can apparently do that. Now, anyway, as I was saying, the plane allowed him to turn the vast Alaskan wilderness into his own private game reserve. He could fly a woman to a remote gravel pit on the Nick River or a hidden clearing in the Matsu Valley, strip her of all hope, and comfortably indulge his fantasies. There is no running from a plane in the middle of the Alaskan wilderness. Talk about probably one of the most terrifying things ever.
I say that is terrifying to me.
I didn't get it's playing. Okay, I did not kill her video. It is playing in my presenter window, but not on our screen.
Oh, here comes Amy.
Amos is like,
we just got in
fuck
trouble.
It won't.
Producer has showed up in the background, and she's like, damn, these hosts don't even know how to do shit properly.
I don't know why it's not working, Amy.
It's okay. The meat baker had found a way to bypass the laws of man by retreating into the laws of nature, where the strongest predator wins. And it wouldn't be long before the sound of a plane engine became the last thing many women would ever hear. That terrifies me.
That is. Okay, that picture is pretty cool because it's showing like the whole area of the Nick River. By the way, Amy, keep this video for future shows because this is very important come the 80s. No, I can't think of a more terrifying thing. No. One, the idea of the Alaskan wilderness already terrifies me.
And to be taken there in a plane that you can only get there by plane, you can't run away and get away. We are being very careful with Knik River is how I've been saying it to make sure I'm staying away from Richard. You don't want it to be the name for Richard.
I said Nick.
But that could be
slurring probably at this point. No, I can't think of a more terrifying thing to happen to a person ever. So don't worry. We'll have that video reappear again in future episodes because basically we'll play it for about 3 years. Now, in April 1977, the meat baker stood before Judge Singleton. This should have been the end of the road. The pre-sentence officer, Loy Bolt, didn't mince words, telling the judge that Robert Hansen was a danger to society. I agree.
Haven't we heard
Boy
this
bolts.
before?
I mean, somebody else got it.
Yeah.
He's like, whoa, this guy.
So psychiatrist Dr. Robert McMahon provided a diagnosis that in hindsight reads like a horror movie prologue. He testified that Hansard suffered from manic episodes and manic depressive, which we know as bipolar disorder.
Which he didn't have, by the way.
Right.
Just want to clear that up.
Yeah, he didn't. Hansen had admitted to having trouble controlling impulse urges, like these growing desires to do unacceptable things that no one else had ever done.
Yeah,
She's
that's
even
not.
popped into our documents. I think we are in trouble.
She was like, you two, you can never be left
I need to go home and hide.
Yeah, no, none of that actually fits into that whole thing, but whatever. Now, during this time, a corrections department counselor made a chilling connection. They believed Hansen's kleptomania wasn't about the objects he stole, which it's usually not, if you know anything about that disorder. It was sexually motivated. Hansen eventually admitted that the act of stealing gave him a sexual blow-up charge, which I couldn't write that and I still can't say it without being like, what? A sexual blow-up charge.
I want to know what a sexual blow-up charge is.
I don't know. I don't either. I was like, I don't know what
I thought it was a typo. I was like,
no.
Okay, she did it multiple times, so I'm guessing it's a thing.
Those are his words. A sexual
I went and checked.
Blow-up charge. That's true. My quotes are either things he said or that's where I know to inflict my sarcasm.
She's
right. That's true. We wouldn't survive without you, Amy.
We would not survive without you.
She's writing us messages.
We're fine. We're fine, Amy, but we need you.
We do. Always and forever. Now, for him, the rush of taking something that didn't belong to him was a somewhat surrogate for the power he saw over women. I mean, it's literally the same thing. That for him, the chainsaw and Jane Doe, because he saw women as not humans, were linked by the same predatory impulse. He was entitled to anything he wanted when he wanted it. So it's his Buffy comes in. It's his Viagra, y'all. Okay. Viagra didn't exist in the 60s. That's why he stole chainsaws.
That's why they didn't have Viagra yet.
Hi, Buffy. Welcome.
A second evaluation by Dr. Alan Parker of the Langdon Clinic revealed a far more disturbing reality. Hansen's psychological scales revealed a competent disintegration of personality. He was losing his grip on reality. His empathy was non-existent, and his energy for violence was peaking. Yeah.
I mean, I agree. He didn't have empathy. He never had empathy, but his grip on reality, fine. Because guess what reality was? Exactly what he thought it was. He could do whatever he wanted to.
I think his reality wasn't that far off because he was being told it was okay. And he was getting a little slap on the wrist. So I don't agree with that reality part.
No, I'm not a big fan of, what was his name? Dr. Langdon, right?
That's why I said the Langdon Clinic.
Dr. Parker. I'm sorry. They cared more about their own egos. And later, when we get to a certain Hansen episode, you'll find that, yeah, they were just spouting bullshit. Now, anyway, but Dr. Parker also believed that he harbored a deep-seated desire for women, coupled with a paralyzing fear that he couldn't relate to them. Hansen was attempting to relive his frustrated, acne-scarred high school years, which I do not believe. But he wasn't looking for a prom date. He was looking for victims he could dominate to heal his weak ego. He was capable of acting on his sickest impulses, and he was fully aware of them. That I do agree with most of that. I really do.
Yeah. Judge Singleton was in a bind. He was between a rock and a hard place. He knew about the 1975 Jane Doe rape allegation. But because she was a school teacher too terrified to testify, unfortunately, the charge was legally invisible. Still sensing the darkness within Hansen, Singleton sentenced Hansen to 5 years in prison. He wanted Hansen isolated and away from society. He did what he could.
Mm-hmm. And I'll say this, both the judges that he had in 72 and this one, they did what they could do, to be quite honest.
They did the best they could.
The first judge he had to accept the plea deal because at that time in Alaska law, they were offering plea deals to everyone and his hands were tied. But he gave him 5 years. And this judge did too. Remember that. They sentenced him to a time. And what happened next? They actually had no control over whatsoever. So the judges are actually one of the few people of authority in this whole story that I do give some leniency to, because the first one and this one saw him exactly for what
they knew. And they would have done more if they could have.
They probably would have done more if they could have, if the fucking police would have done more than they could have and actually gave a shit. I do believe that. If they could have brought other charges, had they actually done their job, they could have put him away for longer, making him not eligible for parole and things like that. But the judges, I do not have actually any complaints about any of the judges and what tied their hands at the time that it did. They did the max they could. So, unfortunately, that was just how Alaska was at the time. Now, anyway, so he's going to prison for 5 years, y'all. What? Oh my gosh.
Well, last time he got, he's been sent to prison before.
Some justice being done for Robert Hansen, right? Now, while though Robert Hansen was locked up, because I think, don't forget what story we're telling here, the streets of Anchorage were safer. Maybe not the safest, but still safer. But Hansen wanted out. So he hired an appellate lawyer to take his case straight to the Alaska Supreme Court. Now, these judges, they don't get any reprieve from me. And he didn't just hire any attorney. No. His defense was led by Edgar Paul Boyko, who was a former Alaska state attorney general, a man who knew the gears of the system because he had helped build them. Now, I'll be honest, I am very suspicious of this guy. I imagine he must have cost a pretty penny. Could Hansen even realistically afford him when he couldn't afford a fucking $200 chainsaw?
Where did Hansen get the money?
Now, lovely Amos did some extra research, and he's a shady dude indeed. But he's super shady. But unfortunately, I can't tell you the story about his guy because he wouldn't make a lot of sense to you. But if you wanted to hear more about what happens to Gary Zeiger after he's acquitted, you will hear more about this guy. I'm
gonna just say his suit makes him sus as shit.
Yeah, he's not great. Now, unfortunately, though, this whole story has me questioning literally each and every man in any position of power. Hansen goes out of his way to come across as like this meek little cowardly nerd man, and yet he always has people at a much higher society level going to bat for him. And that says a lot to me.
It does.
So, anyway, he's very sus.
This high-powered representation allowed Hansen to frame his criminal history not as an escalating pattern of violence, but, guys, as a series of manageable medical setbacks. Seriously? Boyko successfully pivoted the conversation away from his victims and toward the sentencing goals and rehabilitation.
He had to cost a pretty penny, is all I'm saying. You're not granted an appellate lawyer really, especially for what he was charged with.
I was fixing to say, unless
Dude, this guy was shady as
I was
fuck,
fixing to
okay?
say, okay, that's all I'm going to say.
He knew exactly who he was
knew.
hiring. So, just to let you know.
I still think Hansen had friends in high places, like the insurance guy.
Mm-hmm.
Just connect the dots, people. Just connect the dots.
Yeah. Now, on August 11th, 1978, the Alaska Supreme Court overturned Superior Court Judge James K. Singleton's 5-year sentence. That's right. Now, Judge Singleton, as I said, had seen the truth. He noted that Hansen was a third-time felon. There was the arson in Iowa, the 1971 assault with a deadly weapon in Anchorage for Susan Heppard, and the chainsaw larceny. Singleton even argued that as a repeat offender, Hansen had forfeited the leniency usually given to first-timers. So, like, he wasn't coddling Hansen, as far as I could understand from the law at the time and his charges, and he sentenced him appropriately. And I think it should have been way more, but also that wouldn't have been appropriate. So,
however, the Supreme Court chose a different path. They dismissed the chainsaw theft as a relatively non-serious property offense. They gave Hansen extra credit for his stable employment at the bakery and his solid family background. What the hell? Which was more so a testament to his wife Darla's unwitting role as his greatest character witness. The court had become enamored with the idea of miraculous lithium, as if a pill could cure a man who had already kidnapped and raped women at gunpoint.
Lithium definitely does not cure.
But it was new. It was seen as
it's all bullshit.
I know it is now, but we didn't know that back then.
In a move that quite frankly feels like a dark comedy, the court's desire to help Hansen actually paved the way for his return to the hunt. His 5-year sentence sent Hansen to the Juneau facility, which focused on vocational training that he didn't really need since this is a medical thing. Also, he owned a bakery. There was no place for him there. And psychiatric help was also only available at the Eagle River facility, which Amos later learned was a woman facility, but also that required a sentence of 2 years or less. So even if it was male, female, it doesn't matter. It was 2 years or less, and his was 5. So neither one of these actually fit their decision.
And I'm sorry, there's no shenanigans. The leprechauns left yesterday.
There's always shenanigans.
There's
wherever Llama is, there's shenanigans.
So by reducing his sentence to time served, 1 year, to get him into treatment, the Supreme Court effectively handed him another get out of jail card.
Mm-hmm.
They prioritized his medical rehab over the physical safety of the women of Anchorage, Alaska.
Unbelievable. Now, in their pursuit of a fair sentence, the court ignored the blood on Hansen's hands. They failed to mention the kidnapping of Susan Heppard and the brutal assault of Patty Roberts. To the Supreme Court of Alaska, Hansen was just a 37-year-old baker with a stuttering problem and a shopping habits, stealing. To the streets, though, he was a predator who had just been told by the highest court in the state of Alaska that his actions weren't that serious. The highest court of Alaska.
Once again, reaffirming. When Robert Hansen walked free in September 1978, He didn't leave as a reformed man. He left as a con artist who had successfully duped the Alaska Supreme Court. He had learned a very dangerous lesson. As long as he maintained his solid family man facade and stayed on his meds or pretended to, he was untouchable.
Mm-hmm.
He was no longer just a baker. He was a man with a permission slip to continue his slide into the macabre. They just built his confidence even more.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, next time on True Crime and Wine Times Frozen Fear, the Butcher Baker of Alaska series, we begin in October 1979 when Robert Hansen, now a seasoned aviator and a predator of habit, thinks he's found another disposable dancer. But Christy Hayes, a mother with everything to live for, isn't interested in his plan. We'll recount the chilling, claustrophobic standoff inside a moving camper, where a simple date transformed into a brutal fight for survival.
As we wrap up the silent decade, we'll expose how this single encounter forced Hansen to evolve, to install eye bolts in his camper, to synchronize his crimes with his family's travel, and to turn the vast Alaska sky into the ultimate hiding place. Oh my God. Join us next time for part 7, The Silent Decade, 1979 to 1980. Christy Hayes tries to break the silence.
That's right, guys. Because what? Surprise! He wasn't deterred by anything.
Aren't things supposed to get better as time goes on? Because it's not.
No, it doesn't get better. I mean, just know from this point on, he was supposed to spend 5 years. Okay,
Twice.
1979. 5 years would make that 1984.
But his 5 years previous, he would have.
Literally, if he would have spent the appropriate time, he was sentenced for both of those crimes. Every single person we've talked about would be alive. Every single one. Or at least wouldn't have been victims of Robert Hansen. They could have died otherwise. I don't know. But they would not have been murdered or disappeared.
Or assaulted and they got away.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep. Yeah, we haven't even gotten, by the way, in case you're wondering, we have not gotten to a single murder that he claimed as his own. In case you all are like, wait a second. No, nothing we've mentioned in the last 4 shows has he ever claimed any of the things we've talked about thus far. That's not including the 17 women that are literally about to die.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh, good job, Lainey. High five, girl. Boom. High five for a delicious dinner. Now, we end this chapter, not with justice, obviously, but with a chilling realization that Robert Hansen didn't just survive the 1970s. He refined his methods under the very noses of the men sworn to stop him, and quite frankly, given permission to. Like, did they try putting up a no killing zone signs? You are so funny, Savage.
But no, I don't think they tried that. That would have been too much work.
It would have been too much work, but it could have worked. Who knows? Then they could have actually had a real crime to charge him and put him in prison with, instead of, assaulting and women or whatever. Who cares about that? And I'm just kidding. Now, when we looked at the disappearances of Megan Emerick and Mary Kathleen Thill, we aren't just looking at cold cases. We're looking at the ultimate victory of a predator over a system that preferred order to the truth. The Seward police looked for a body, found nothing, and filed the paperwork away. The Anchorage troopers looked for a monster like Gary Zeiger, found a convenient target, and ignored the man who was literally mapping his killing fields in his own home. It is infuriating and very disappointing to realize that the legal system of the 1970s, and again, even today, is often more efficient at prosecuting a shoplifting charge against a corporate giant like Fred Meyers than it is at protecting the lives of young women on the strip or students at a skill center. The chainsaw incident reminds us that the law only acted when a physical asset was taken from a company. But when a daughter like Megan or a wife like Mary was taken, the law was satisfied with no evidence of foul play or, well, we got nothing. Robert Hansen learned the most dangerous lesson a serial killer could have ever hoped for. If you keep your head down, provide a wholesome hobby like archery, and pick your targets from the margins of society, you can operate with near total impunity. And now, as we close this episode, the final piece of his dark architecture has fallen into place. He was grounded by the FAA for his mental health. Yet, he bought a plane anyway. He realized that the red Volvo station wagon was a liability, but the open sky? The sky is a graveyard with no witnesses. By 1977, the meek baker was no longer just walking the docks. He was claiming the wilderness as his own. He had evolved from a scavenger into a hunter, and the vast, unmonitored bush of Alaska was about to become his own private hunting preserve. He had the map, he had the plane, and he had the total, unwavering, justified belief that he was untouchable. And the silent decade wasn't just a time of the quiet, it was a rehearsal for the slaughter to come. 17 lives to come.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I think what makes this episode and chapter of this so hard to sit with is that all of this was preventable. Like we said, if he would have just been in prison for the time he was supposed to, right?
Mm-hmm.
But think about it, guys. So many moments where somebody could have looked a little harder, pushed a little further, maybe gave a shit. Maybe the rest of this would have never happened and we could stop right here and we wouldn't have however many more episodes we have. Because by now, guys, this is not bad luck. This is not a coinky dink. This is not a man who slipped through the cracks one single time. This is a man who cops in the legal system handed him chance after chance after chance while women paid the price for it. This is the legal system that keeps giving him more and more confidence. They didn't even stop to care until a chainsaw, a physical object, was taken.
I can't even blame him for thinking any of this.
No, I can't either.
He's absolutely in the right to think that he is untouchable.
Absolutely. They did it to themselves.
The state of Alaska taught him that.
Yeah. And then when I think about Megan, Mary, and Jane Doe, that just enrages me even more and breaks my heart because they didn't care. They cared about a fucking chainsaw. Excuse my language again. And I will never understand why the police didn't do their jobs. And I really, really hate Robert Hansen. And I really, really hate Alaska. I don't like Alaska. No. And it's so beautiful there.
It is. It is. Now we're on episode 6 and there's still a lot more to come. But I think at this point you can see
more.
You can see why all of a sudden we're like, okay, so we're going to have to tell the story before the story that everyone is familiar with, because that needs to be talked. This needs
I knew
to
where
be
we're going.
About more.
I didn't know all of this. And that's what makes me mad. If it would have been done right, we would never be telling that. People wouldn't know that story. And the fact that people told that story and didn't tell this story, shame on them.
Agreed.
Shame on them.
Because you know what they're doing? They're giving the police, investigators, that whole system a pass by not putting a microscope onto them and a magnifying glass and being like, look, and you know how we know they didn't do it? Because they're still making the same fucking choices in 2026, in 2019, all of that. It's still the same thing is happening. So
exactly.
I know. It's crazy, Savage.
It's crazy. Now, before we go, if you liked our rants tonight, okay, I'm not going to say if you liked what you heard because it's rough, but if you liked our rants and you enjoyed hanging out, be sure to follow us on our socials and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's free. I did not bump you from being on the show.
She did. She's just kidding.
Why didn't you join us?
She had family stuff. Remember?
Okay, and who told you they're more important than us? We wouldn't be up to shenanigans, right? Just kidding. Families always first. But if you're listening on our pod, please download, give us a rating. All of that helps us tremendously in getting our channel out there.
Yeah, and we will be back with part 7 of our Frozen Fear, the Butcher Baker of Alaska series tomorrow, Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern on YouTube. I just realized I keep saying that, and the pod people may not quite understand that. I'm talking about on YouTube when we go to record it. So if you haven't yet, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss when we go live. We will be wrapping up the 70s of this story, so you do not want to miss it. So is there anything else you would like to say, Terry?
I am not sure my liver can handle another 2 weeks in Alaska. I'm just going to be honest. I'm not sure my liver can handle it, and I'm not sure yours can either. Because, guys, it doesn't even get a fraction better.
Well, I'll say this. There does come a certain point when when they have no choice. Honestly, it is really when there's no choice.
Still.
Yeah,
we're still a long way from that.
We are. And it's awful. So
yeah, just people, if you see something, say something, stay safe.
And not just say something. If somebody's not doing something about something, say it louder.
Say it louder.
Demand they do something about it. Yeah. Be a voice for those the system does not respect.
Yeah. Because guess what, guys? It's not the 70s. It's not. Back in the 70s, when this was happening, which I just recently learned, women could not get credit cards in their name without their husband's permission.
No, girl, you didn't know that?
75.
Yeah.
So why would they have listened to women back then?
Exactly. And they still don't.
Now, we're loud. And we can all get together and we can all say something.
Right. And before you... Oh, you guys, you're such feminists. Yes, we are. But also, if you don't know what we're talking about with Alaska, there was a recent serial killer in the last several years. And guess what? Literally the same things.
Same shit.
It's literally a copy and paste. And it was unbelievable. Women of Alaska on
Thank you, Savage.
But let's not be too hasty. I know, us silly women and our hormones and our thoughts. Us,
no, but I mean, if we wouldn't have just watched that documentary this weekend, I would have a lot more grace thinking they learned from their lesson.
Would. I wouldn't.
But I'm going to tell you, after watching that, I'm like, nope, I'm done.
Right? I was like, Terry, let me write 14 parts to hold Alaska to the stake. I'm going to burn them alive.
Stick a fork in me, because guess what they learned from the 70s and 80s?
Mm-hmm.
Not a damn
thing. Right. No, but you know what? We're doing our best to try to make sure that these stories are told and that it is in the forefront where they should be. But you want to sign off for tonight? Did you already do that? I'm sorry. I'm like 3 drinks in.
Stay safe.
Yep, you did.
Say something.
You did. Well, on that note, everybody have a great night.
Tomorrow.
Stay safe. Until next time, go forth and be Amazing. All right.